Hello once again, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Good to Know Shreveport-Bossier, a podcast focusing on all the fun things going on around the community, the things that are they make your life worth living, the good, positive things. My name is Jeff Blindfor. I'm your host for today. Over here to my right, this is Paul Reeser. He's a member of the board of directors of the Committee of 100, all the influential folks around Shreveport-Bossier, the things that make this community move and shake. And Paul, as always, we have a special guest. I'll let you do the introductory honors.
Well, thank you very much, Jeff.
Well, thank you very much.
I never know how you're going to introduce me, but I always appreciate it.
I like to keep you
a mover and shaker today is what I am. But today we have another awesome guest. We're very fortunate. Shreveport Common is an organization working to revitalize a long-blighted 9-block urban area to vibrant, creative, cultural community in downtown Shreveport. Say that 3 times.
You read this really well. Just keep
Thank
reading.
you very much. But no, here's the exciting thing.
Good,
It's called Shreveport Common, but their plan was voted the #1 most outstanding community development project in the nation by the National Development Council Academy in Washington, D.C. So our guest today is the Executive Director of Shreveport Common, Miss Wendy Benscoter. Wendy, welcome to the show. We finally have got started here after all of our tomfoolery.
Yeah.
But thank you very much for coming out today.
Well, thank you for having me, giving me the opportunity to tell everybody about Shreveport Common. The first being that it's not just one organization. It's hundreds of people that are making this happen.
So it's not that common. Right?
It is very uncommon. It's very
go.
uncommon. So I'll help explain some of that later.
Well, just explain for people that don't know, and that would be me.
Yes.
I don't really know anything about Shreveport Common, so fill us in. What's this all about?
Well, it's 2 things really. It's this neighborhood that was once very blighted. It's just west of downtown business district and east of HUD Choice Neighborhoods. Ledbetter Heights is what you would know it as one of Shreveport's oldest neighborhoods. And it had beautiful historic buildings. It was really the heart of our cultural and entertainment area for years and years and years. Certainly in the 20s, has beautiful historic buildings by some extraordinary architects, including Edward Neild, who, by the way, was Harry Truman's architect on White House renovations, and also on the Harry Truman Library. And of course the Wiener brothers, who are internationally known, were architects on several of the buildings down there. But for years it had been decaying, neglected, and for 50 years there had been no capital improvement in the area. So this area is newly named Shreveport Common. It didn't really have a name. It was kind of that side of downtown that nobody recognized as downtown.
Kind of the part of downtown when you come over the Common Street Bridge and you got the Strand and all those old buildings over there.
Yes, it's a little bit on that side, but most of it's on the other side around Municipal Auditorium and where a lot of buildings had been torn down. In fact, 50% of the buildings had been torn down by 2010, sadly. But it's hard to keep up buildings built in the 20s.
Wasn't there a big fire there or something? Yeah.
There was actually, there was a big fire on the corner of Common Street and Crockett Street with a hotel. But what you might remember is that the Shreveport Regional Arts Council's offices were burned to the ground in 2009.
I guess that's what I was thinking of.
That's probably what you're thinking of. And at the time, they didn't know what they were going to do, but the mayor at the time, Cedric Glover, had just come through the Mayor's Institute for City Design, and he knew that arts and artists could help revitalize areas.
Right.
And he said to the Arts Council, we're going to put you in the old fire station, which, by the way, that central fire station had been empty 10 years, if you can believe that, and probably last renovated in the 60s, with thousands of men coming and going, living there, not very many firewomen at the time. They had moved into their new fire station, but the paint was peeling and there were weeds, and it was just one of the many empty buildings. I didn't mention that after the 50% of the buildings had been taken down, of those that remained, only 46% were occupied at the time.
Right.
So the central fire station was just one of those that was empty. And the mayor said it can be yours it's still the city's, but it could be yours for your offices if you do 3 things. One, you raise all the money yourself to renovate it, which they did, by the way, $4.5 million pretty quickly to turn it into the Central Art Station. Most of that was private funding. And then he said to them, make at least half of it for the community, which it is. I don't know have you been in the Central Art Station?
But
oh my
I'm getting
gosh.
interested.
Okay,
yeah.
well when you walk in, it's an artist entrepreneurial gallery. They have an artist resource center. They have a black
like a
box
fireman
theater.
museum in there.
They have a little fireman
we
museum
have people.
upstairs.
They actually live there and do all their art stuff. And
the Shreveport Regional Arts Council has their administrative administrative offices upstairs, and downstairs is for the community. And so hundreds of artists coming and going, volunteers coming and going all the time, and a lot of programming that's either affordable or free for the neighbors in the community, which, by the way, there are neighbors in the community, and for those who want to come to shows. In fact,
it's a neat venue. It's like a black box venue. They have. It's one of the areas where they show the film festival. That's one of the venues.
yes,
for the film
they've had
festival.
murder mystery and dance.
So can you rent that location?
You sure can. You can rent it. You call the Arts Council. You can also rent the Host Tower, which is the tallest, smallest apartment for visiting artists. But you can you can rent it as an Airbnb if you're willing to walk up 5 floors to the bedroom.
It's a process of taking all these older buildings, and some of them have been completely redone. Some are in process. Is that right?
So the third caveat that the mayor gave the Arts Council was use this as a catalyst to help revitalize this area. He knew what creative placemaking was, placemaking being a planning term. Creative placemaking put artists in at the table while the stakeholders and the elected officials talk about what this area can look like. And they did that. They did that with a year-long planning process, and that was actually studied by MIT and featured as a leader in creative placemaking.
Nice.
But that was the start to Shreveport Common in 2011 and 12.
So I was looking at some pictures. I see that almost looks like a little football stadium or something from the outside with ramps and stuff. What is that?
That is the new Mike McSwain, artist at the table. Mike McSwain designed outdoor pavilion. And if you've missed the last 3 concerts because of the weather, may not have been so great, although it was last week for one of the concerts, you've got to go out and see it, especially at night. You'll see Bruce Allen's artist trees that are 20 feet tall. Those are just some of the amenities in that park, which, by the way, was 9 parcels of where buildings had been torn down and it was blighted. And that through everything we do at Shreveport Common is City, Arts Council, and the community coming together, the property owners, the artists, and the neighbors, and the community all coming together to make it happen, and that's how that park was built.
So I was going to say that's just going to be left there as green space and a park. And
it is.
Okay. Well,
it's pretty impressive.
So a lot of cities are trying to revitalize their downtowns.
Yes.
So what makes this plan voted the number one
community development project?
The most outstanding community development in the nation.
I'm glad you asked that, as I know that
this
answer.
This is a good number 1 for Louisiana,
Yes,
right?
yes, this is a good number 1. Shreveport is on the national radar for its creative placemaking project. Shreveport Common, I'm asked to speak nationally all the time to groups that want to know about it and then come ask me, how did you do it? So I know from that what they're looking at. Number 1, it's this unique partnerships of public-private partners. Even the investment in the area, $56 million to date, is public and private. $35 million of that is private investment in the area, and a lot of it's grassroots. The property owners whose families had owned the buildings forever, or maybe a property owner that doesn't want to develop it, so they donated it to us to try to get it untangled from whatever environmental problems it has or tax sale problems. But this is what makes us unique. Is number 1, it's not one organization that's making it happen. It's the neighbors in the area that were part of the planning process together said, we're going to do something too. The mayor said, we're going to do something too by redoing the municipal and Oakland Cemetery. The state said, we're going to repave the streets, get lighting in there, and now the whole area has lifted. So that's what makes us unique, but there's another part of that. And that is, early on, nobody could agree to what the area should be. They all had their ideas, I know. But what they could agree on were their values for the project, and when it all boiled down to were 4 things, with a caveat. One was that everything that we do has to honor the authenticity and the culture of the area, the history, the stories, and everything. If you go on the old Central Fire Station, you'll see that's honored. But the other part of it is that everything we do has to be creative and new and has to be experience-based. So you see that too when you go in Central Art Station. You see that too maybe in Andrus Garage if you go in, Andrus Entrepreneur Center now, if you go there. Everything we do has to be sustainable, not just environmentally, but fiscally. Things are paid for first and foremost before we do anything, step forward. But there's also a bioswale in the park to capture the rainwater. We do that too.
Okay.
And that everything we do be for community. Everybody in our community, everybody is welcome. Everybody. And with no displacement of the neighbors. And that caveat of no displacement of the neighbors, which means huge efforts being put forth to keep Providence House, Mercy Center, and VOA McAdoo there, and have their residents be embedded in the neighborhood, not just to come to a parade, but be a part of the parade, have visiting artists work with them and the other neighbors, like the 254 people that live in the Fairmont Tower, which is affordable housing. We have market rates, a couple of almost $1 million residential spots in Shreveport Common, and they're living next to things that don't look so nice, but they do it because they want that mixed culture, that mixed environment.
Well, you sound like guys that know how to get things done. The rest of the city should be taking lessons from you all.
Well, what we're proud about is that we are implementing. Every day, we are implementing. And Shreveport Common's role is that redevelopment implementation. There are properties that have really would be incredibly difficult to sell to somebody, so we can get those, untangle them, get them back on the market. We work at putting partners together so that new business owners have people that they can work with to be successful. But again, it's all those other partners. You've got City of Shreveport. They have 2 of their department heads are on our board, which, by the way, is 28 members of some people that can get things done in our community. And then you have the Arts Council, which is amazing at getting things done. Just look at the public art in that area now. And also the programming. They have a lot of programming planned too. And then everybody in the community making it happen. If I took you on a tour and you met each owner of those buildings, you would see that their passion would drive the project.
So the artists that work at your facilities, I mean, this runs the gamut from just like normal painting and sculpture to what?
Everything.
Yeah.
I mean, there's everything from fashion and textiles. Some artists make their own material and then they turn it into fashion. There's everything from music, and I mean the artists at the Strand Theater are part of Shreveport Common. We have an artist directory. It used to be called the Northwest Louisiana Artist Directory. It had 1,500 members on it. It's now with the state. But I encourage people to look and see what kind of artists we have here, and very professional, you know, and where they are. Soon, a lot of them will be in Shreveport Common. Right now, 10 spaces have been opened up for artist studios, but we'll also have the apartments being built.
Nice. All right, so I'm a comic book guy.
Okay.
I'm a superhero.
Yes.
I collect comic art and superhero statues.
Yes.
Can you hook me up with
I
some?
can.
Okay.
Tony Reens, artist.
Sweet.
Go ahead. Give him a call. You
Who
can
is it?
look
What's
at
his name?
Tony Reens. You can look at his website, and he'll refer you to the others. But you can also look at that state website called the Cultural List.
All right, Batman, Iron Man, and the Green Lantern. Those are my favorites.
Well, they can't. You know, they got to worry about trademark.
I'm in the market. I'm not going to sell it. I'm just going to hang it and enjoy it. That's right.
So this area has been developing for a while. It's kind of
10
like
years now,
It's kind of like
11
a
years.
bamboo tree. It's underground, and then one day you look at it, things are opening.
Yes.
So where are we at right now? What are some things that are big successes that have opened, and what can we look for to bring more population, more business to downtown?
Okay, if you don't mind, let me give you some facts
Come
first,
on.
because your eyes just see the 3 buildings that are still blighted. So let me say now, we've had 32 construction and preservation projects completed in 9 months.
32. Okay,
that's
9 months.
Huge. I'm sorry, 9 years.
Okay.
Oh, I wish it was,
gonna
9
say
months.
9 months.
No, I wish it was
Wow.
9 months. No, it's been. I'm sorry,
That's
I didn't
faster
say.
than he can cook
no,
hamburgers.
It's 9. I know it's 9 blocks in 12 years. Y'all are gonna.
Okay.
But still,
let me
that's-
mess up. Okay, so
These are
in
big
9
buildings.
blocks, 32 buildings, construction completed. Some of them buildings, most of them buildings. Other ones projects like the park, the Grand Promenade that's now beautiful. It used to be ugly. You just don't remember that. The Municipal Auditorium, but also some incredible buildings like the Andrus Garage. It was just a blown out a shell of a garage. It's now the Andrus Artist and Entrepreneur Center. Has a New Orleans artist that's moved up here now that
Nice.
has a gallery. There's an art show there.
Wow.
Okay, so let me go on. So 32 completed.
I don't think we could stop you. if
No,
we
I
wanted to.
know. Hey, I'm passionate about it for sure,
You are,
because
obviously, yeah.
I'm living every day in it, and then
Really?
with the other people that are working so hard in it. So it's not just me. 8 buildings under construction, including the old Arlington. Every Man of King's now back under construction.
What does that mean, every man a king?
That's the old Arlington Hotel. They've bought it and turned the name of the hotel is the name of the building is now, or the project is Every Man a King.
Okay.
I guess going back to Huey.
UEP, yeah.
But that'll have the Ravenir French restaurant there, an event center and tasting room and some other things.
Wow.
COVID slowed them down. They're back under construction. But look and see the old building we call the Unita Biscuit Building downtown
Okay.
is now the Unita Artists Affordable and Market Rate mixed together. We like mixed rate. Lofts, and they're beautiful. They're 1-bedroom apartments. They're going to open this June.
Nice.
I hope you can take a tour soon. I've been in it 3 times this week. They keep trying to run me out because I'm in the way, but it's just beautiful. And that'll be for our artists to have a place to live and work.
Now, do you have that pre-leased? Are there people that are already lining
They're
up?
already
to move
lined
in?
up. They're lined up, but people can go to our website, and I will, or email me at wendy@shreveportcommon.com, and I'll put them on the list.
Say it again.
Wendy, W-E-N-D-Y, at shreveportcommon.com.
Okay.
And I'll put them on the list.
All
And
right.
you can go, speaking of your website, I went to your
Yes.
website, of course, yesterday. I Googled it, Jeff. That's how I find out most everything.
Good, I'm glad you did.
But you've got these little 3-minute video tours that show what's been done, what's going to happen,
Yes.
what's under construction. And then you told me about an app.
We
So
have
if
an
I wanted to
app.
go downtown and figure out what's what, how do I do that?
You can go to your smartphone, your app store, look up the Shreveport Common app, download it. You can hold it up wherever you are, and it shows you the buildings that you're standing in front of. There are actually tours and beautiful art, including pictures inside the buildings and stories, but we are having to reload that. So for right now, just appreciate that you can tell where you are. And
It's like the
do the-
Constellation app. I can look up
Yes.
and I can see that's Jupiter. This,
yes,
so, but now I
it
can
knows
look
where
over
you
and I
are.
can see,
You
oh,
can,
that's the
if
Strand
you're
and-
out there, you can hold it up and walk
That is
around, and soon
amazing.
you'll be able to hear
Okay.
the tours again too. So you can do
Those things are
self-walking
made
tours.
for like you. People
That's
like
right.
you.
Now I can look at my phone. I don't have to look at the real building.
That's right.
So the art, all the art, and is this stuff for sale or
Well,
for
it
show
is.
or
Well,
what?
we're trying to make the whole idea of Shreveport Common is to lift the area, save endangered buildings. I didn't mention that most of the buildings that were blighted were endangered. Several were on the historic register list, the National Register of Historic Buildings, and our work is to help convince developers, private developers, that they can make room for artists and the community and give them what they need. We do everything by research. We don't want to have we don't want to tell a tale and sell snake oil and then have an empty town at the end.
He's bought a lot of snake oil, I
What
think.
we want is to have it be real. So we do real studies. We get grants to commission studies, and so does the Arts Council, so that we do real estate market studies. And then we did a study of artists, and we had a national firm come down and study our artists to say what do they want and how much could they pay. Is it affordable? Is it market rate? Well, it's mixed. Our artists, some can pay market rate, some affordable. What do they need? Some wanted spaces to live downtown, which is what we're working on in Shreveport Common. Some needed gallery space. Some wanted a maker space, which was something new. If you're going to ask me what's coming up, I'll tell you about the maker space.
Well, first, so do you go out and recruit these folks? How do they get here? I mean, how do they know about it? Or
The artists?
Yeah.
Well, the artists know about it, and they know, most artists will know to go to Shreveport Regional Arts Council and look on their website, or they hear about Shreveport Common being it's an arts and cultural community, again, for everyone, though, not just for artists.
Like somebody
for
from
everyone.
Texas might call or be interested in coming to move here, or
Well,
California or whatever.
We do
Yeah?
have people moving from other cities here. They hear about us and they decide that this is where they want to stay. It's a very walkable area, and they see there's actually more residences than you would expect there. Now there are 33 market rate apartments there in that little 9-block area, and then there's affordable, and then the Unita, we call it the Unita apartments, will be opening up soon, and again, they're just beautiful. So
The work on Texas Street, I think, was very successful. Like the movie theater, the Robinson.
Yes,
The Robinson,
yes.
that's just a beautiful space.
Yes.
I love going to movies there.
Yes.
We've rented it for different events. They have great, it's a great venue. And then right across the street, you have the coffee shop and the apartments those are doing really well, aren't they?
They're doing very well. And I have to tell you where that started, which is where my interest in the Arts Council really bloomed, was that the Arts Council moved into an old Lewis furniture store on Texas Street. It was completely blighted. They had started Neon Saturday Nights, started putting art in these empty buildings. if you remember, it was just nothing between the courthouse down to the church, and they opened up art space. The Arts Council opened up art space. They have exhibits there. They bring in national artists and local artists to have exhibits there and have workshops for children, and that attracted the other development, Robinson Film Center and the lofts now. Tipitina's had moved in down the street, and now I don't think there's a vacant building on that street, but that's how the mayor and the community knew that if the Arts Council went into the old fire station and created the central fire station, central art station, that the area would bloom, and it has.
So how did I guess I lost my thought for a second, but what kind of reaction do you get from the artists to all of this? It's all together, so I'm just wondering how they feel about that.
Well, different artists have different opinions. That's what we love about them, and there's some artists that like to do things on their own, and there's other artists that love the support of the Arts Council. They can now, they're not indebted in any way, but they can come to the Arts Council and take entrepreneurial classes and learn how to be entrepreneurs, which I believe that number is now 750 that have graduated. I might have too much on that, but they've been doing it for 10 years, so they bring in professionals to help the artists be more entrepreneurial and earn more income from their art. And they don't have to pay for that with money. This is another program that puts us in the national forefront. SHRAC has a program that if the artists pay it forward with Providence House or the Fairmont residents or someone else in the area like VA or Mercy Center. And it has to be, can't give them tickets, it has to be a really pay it forward, like teach them how to sew and make fashion, or bring them in for a master class in theater. If they do that, then that can be their fee for having gone through the program. So it's really interesting, this trying to keep the residents that are typically underserved and keeping them in the neighborhood and exposing them to art just at their front door.
Well, I'm a glasses half full kind of guy.
Yes.
This is the Good to Know podcast.
You're not the only one.
We're always, we're always talking about the good things, but
yes.
I know that Shreveport, it seems like it's been a slow development. There are some concerns about downtown. What are some things that are standing in the way, or is there anything standing in the way at this time?
I'm glad you asked that.
Come on.
Okay, so I am, and I'm going to tell you why.
That's a first.
The first thing is because I think with understanding, people can really get behind this. I think for a long time there hasn't been a lot of understanding. One person didn't come in and drop a bunch of money in Shreveport Common to make it happen. We thought that's what we wanted in the beginning, but it's not, because now there are so many property owners and business owners and artists that are there that if one didn't work out, it wouldn't deflate the project. We would keep going. So, and that's really what you want, is that sustainability. But everything we do from a redevelopment standpoint, all the work that I do takes at least 3 years to purchase a property or get it donated to us, to get it, write the grants, to get it cleaned up, to get it back on the market. People that buy buildings, I hear all the time, well, they've had it for so long, why aren't they doing anything? Well, for one thing, it's very, very, very expensive. And it's not like we have some sort of motivation that all of a sudden they're going to be able to fill it up with renters, at some high price. That's not going to work in this area. Most of them are philanthropic in their own way, that they've taken on these buildings. But also, I don't know if you know, but it takes a year to get, it really takes a year to get an architect and a plan done, and then another year to get historic tax credits, and then another year to get your other funding set. It's a long haul. And that's what you see with these buildings. The exciting thing is, there's 16 right now properties that are in pre-development, meaning money's been spent, somebody's in love with them, they're going to do something about it, and they're working on it.
Well, I was going to ask you, it sounds like obviously you've been very active with this 9-block area, but how many more properties do you have to develop in that area?
Well, right now, because I'm going to answer your question first, COVID really got in our way. COVID got in our way for a lot of reasons, and it slowed development. So we have 3 projects which would equal 12 or so parcels, well, more than that actually, because one's 22 parcels, that we would like to see developed, but that's new construction. And today, new construction's tough. It's a lot for steel, it's a lot for concrete, it's a lot to get off the ground. Does that keep us from showing it? No, I just had somebody in last week from Houston that I'm showing these properties to, somebody that doesn't seem so afraid of that in Shreveport. But it's going to take a while. But as far as the historic buildings, the Crestwell Hotel has sold. That was the last one. of any significance, and they're well on their way. So that's exciting. You can't see it. It looks still like it's boarded up. Oh,
Right.
I didn't mention Sanctuary Glass, which nobody thought the Arlington Hotel would sell or could be sold. But Sanctuary Glass School has bought it. They are starting their capital campaign this summer, and they are going to create a glass arts school that will attract national artists
Nice.
to come to Shreveport.
So I'm interested, you say people are saying you've had it for so long you haven't done anything with it. It sounds like you've done everything with it. So why would their reaction be that? I don't get it.
Because I think people's eyes drive by and see the old, it's the old B'nai Zion Temple on Cotton Street, and it's boarded up. And they drive by and see some boarded up buildings on Texas Avenue. They see the Cresswell still boarded up. And they don't really know what the story is behind that. One of my favorite things to do is give a tour. Believe it or not, it takes at least an hour and a half. I know that's hard to believe.
But you're going to give us a personal tour.
I would love to. I would
Okay.
love to.
I would
And any
enjoy that.
organization that wants to get a city bus or a trolley, I would love to, because what happens is, again, you see what's happening, you hear what's happening, you meet the people that are making it happen, and then you see this is happening in Shreveport. This will continue to happen. We have 3 new businesses in Shreveport Common this month, and we're working with people to have experience-based businesses, meaning it's fun. You know, it's not just a restaurant, it's something else. I know we have the axe throwing in the bar in Bossier. We're looking for people to do
compete with that,
unique.
Shreveport.
Well, come up with some. There are a lot of great ideas. We're looking for more ideas.
I would think that the folks that live around that area would be thrilled with all the stuff that you're doing.
They
there.
are thrilled.
Yeah.
They are thrilled, all of them, because it's look at the park, it's beautiful. But you know who really should be thrilled about it, but they haven't figured it out yet? All those people that I'm not from Shreveport, you know, I'm from Houston. And so I get all this all the time, you know, well, how do you like Shreveport? There's nothing to do here. I think that's crazy. There's a lot to do here. And now Shreveport Common has this new Caddo Common Park. That's the name of it, Caddo Common. Yes, the weather's been bad, but they've already had 3 concerts. Some are privately, put together, and some are the Arts Council's putting together. But they've also got these plans, like every Saturday, starting with May 6th, first Saturdays of the month, you're going to have Super Saturdays with free exercise and artist tents and vendors. And then the rest of the Saturdays of the month, you have free exercise. You can come out and work out with Chris Wells, who's one of our neighbors who has extreme fitness. Or if that's a little too much for you, you can work out with Juanita.
It's not for me, but it's
and
too much
Lynn
for
to
me.
do
Way
the
too much for
cardio
me.
spot stay, do like hip hop step. Or if that's not enough for you, Robert Blunt's there with Superman, and he will extremely get you in shape.
With
So this is-
Superman.
That's
this
his
is
name.
in that park?
Oh,
They
he's
just
That's
do that?
their businesses
Okay.
are across the street from the park, but
These are
every
businesses
Saturday
in
it's going to be in
Shreveport.
the park now,
And they
every
go out in the
Saturday
park.
morning. Yes, and
I
there's more to come.
visited my daughter in Chicago last weekend, and across the street there's a park, and they do Tai Chi. They had this Asian music going.
There's actually, do you know that there's Tai Chi this Saturday, next Saturday the 29th in Asiana Gardens, and they're looking now, could they move over to Caddo Common Park? So that's exciting. You could go there on Saturday the 29th and then go to Taco Wars, which is going to make you have to look at all
Very
the buildings in
international.
Shreveport Common. Yes, exactly. Yes.
I like
you
it.
can't do tacos. You're a burger guy.
I'm international.
Yeah, I got you. All right, we got like 2 minutes here.
Okay.
What else do you want to get out there for people to know about
So
your
what do
projects?
people want to know? So if I want to come to Shreveport and start a business or get involved, but I don't want to buy a $10 million building, where do I start?
You can call me. My
Call
job,
Wendy.
My job is to make sure that all the developers have the businesses they need in there, and then to work with the businesses to make sure that they have a place to rent, you know, for the price that they want. We just got Cardio Spot just went in to one of the
Okay.
buildings across from the park. Sometimes it takes a little visionary, you know, to see that it's going to be for you.
You got an
but
app for that?
I have an app for that. Sure
Nice.
do.
You even know how to use it.
Not
And
yet.
if let's say you just have an idea, share your ideas with us on Facebook, because there's somebody out there that wants to do something, they don't know what, and there's other people that have great ideas. Let's put them together.
Okay, so you have a Facebook page. People can
We
kind of
do.
get updates.
We have a Shreveport Common Facebook page. You don't. It's not the group page. That's for artists. But the Shreveport Common page is white, like my button with the green type in it. Look for that and get on there. You can see the videos and you can see all the events happening in Shreveport Common.
It's exciting, Wendy. I love your enthusiasm. I want to take the tour. I want to get
Good.
the app.
Good.
I'm going.
I
I'm
want
going to
you to
get
bring the
tacos
community of
and
100
Tai
on the
Chi.
tour. I don't know how I'm going to fit them all on a bus, but I want them to come.
I just want to get hooked up with a guy that can do some Green Lantern stuff for me.
I got it.
I want a statue and some stuff for the wall.
We got it. We got
All right,
you
give your
covered.
website one more time.
ShreveportCommon.com.
Singular. Common.
Shreveport Common. The park is Caddo Common Park.
All right, Wendy Benscoter, not
Yes.
Ben Scooter.
Benscoter.
Benscoter.
I've been called a lot of things, but and Ben
Well, so
Scooter's
is
one
he.
of them, but that's
Sure.
okay.
Well, I'll match you with messing up with the last
Thank
names
you.
any day.
That's okay. That's okay. One T in my name, but you won't need it for anything.
All right, Wendy
Okay,
Benscoter,
thank you.
Shreveport Commons.
Thank
Sounds
you.
like one of the fantastic projects going on around Shreveport-Bossier, and that's what this podcast is all about. Thanks for being here, everybody. Have a great day.